Okay, I know what you're thinking. Like, really? Are you serious? The new James Gunn film? Are you just fanboying at the moment? Richard Donner's Superman film from 1978 was a groundbreaking cinematic feat, laying the template for every comic book movie since to follow, humanizing the Man of Steel, as well as being a film that gave the world positive messages of heroism and hope. But to me, the Lex Luthor in that film was disinteresting, and the film felt very dated and a little bit boring. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel ruled, being a fascinating exploration of the character's heritage, the moral dilemmas and conflicts of being a superhero, and it utilised Zack Snyder's very distinct visual style very well. But the film had an overabundance of action in its third act, and some messy storytelling beats that dragged the film down a notch for me. Let's just set the stage here with some context. DC has been in a dire state for the past decade. Marvel was leading the game with their highly successful cinematic universe that audiences were going berserk for, and DC, in their effort to capitalise on that market, launched their own cinematic universe to compete with Marvel. And in their desperate effort to catch up with Marvel, they cheated their setup, which as a result saw their second film, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, to receive widespread criticism. From there, most of the plans for this universe going forward were abandoned, leading for a cluttered, messy, incoherent universe. While there was the occasional gem, a lot of these movies were severe box office flops and panned by critics and audiences. It became clear that for DC to succeed, a reboot was vital. While DC's cinematic universe failed for being very inconsistent, having poor setup and guidance, the real reason as to why DC failed, in my opinion, was because it tried to be too much like Marvel. What DC needed to learn was that we, as a movie-going audience, didn't want for DC to pretend it was Marvel. We wanted for DC to be DC, the otherworldly unique characters packed with powerful important messages and filled with strikingly brilliant stories with heart and humour. And it's clear that when rebooting DC, James Gunn more than truly understood the assignment, giving the fans what they want. I can't help but fall for a movie that is so unashamedly DC, and it's so wonderful to watch a movie just be so happy to embrace what it truly is. For all this, plus a ton of reasons that we'll get into in just a second, James Gunn's Superman rules, and I am so here for it. Let me explain. Hi all, I'm the Grinning Critic and I love talking about movies with a grin, and I cannot tell you as to just how happy I am to be talking about James Gunn's Superman with a massive grin on my face, as I have been so excited for this movie. James Gunn is one of my favourite filmmakers working today. His more fantastical takes and quirky characters, pouring a lot of emotion into them, leads itself more to DC than it does to Marvel, and that's why I was so happy when he was hired as the head of DC. James Gunn clearly loves Richard Donner's original Superman film, and he very much took his own spin on that, and because I love the way that James Gunn makes his films, I absolutely love this incarnation of Superman. The characters in this film I thought were wonderful. In this film, Superman is a symbol of hope. The notion of doing good and using your strengths as a means to help others is a wonderful theme that Gunn heavily embraces throughout this film. I feel superhero movies as of late have become too concerned at being entertaining escapist entertainment where morality seems to be lacking, which is something I find really sad. Film can be used as a means to guide us to do the right thing, and it plays a huge influence in the upbringing of kids and defining their morals and giving them a sense of purpose. It's why superheroes were created in the first place and why they have become so popular, and I'm so glad that James Gunn hasn't lost this essence. David Corenswet owns the role of Superman. I fully bought this guy as Superman. He was fantastic. And his chemistry between Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Lois Lane, is very strong, particularly shining in these two characters' romance and connection, which I thought was very well handled and wholesome. Another casting that I was totally here for was Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Nicholas Hoult is the definitive Lex Luthor, delivering a menacing performance that adds to him being a very hateable villain, whose motifs are understandable, where you can understand why he fears Superman simply because he is unknown, characterizing the way that we fear difference and the processes which we go about expressing these differences, which is best characterized through a scene where monkeys are typing hate speech against Superman on social media. The Justice Gang were a great bunch of heroes in this film that I love seeing receive their chance to shine. I was concerned that this film would be overplotted and it would be a bit overstuffed, but I was very happy that James Gunn found a way to balance these characters out equally. These characters all were given their chance to shine, but they never overshadow Superman. Nathan Fillion was fantastic as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. He was so funny in the role. I thought he was fantastic. Isabella Merced was fantastic as Hawkgirl. I really look forward to seeing what she does in the future. And Eddie Gathegi's Mr. Terrific was just such an unexpectedly surprisingly great character. Now let's talk about Crypto the Space Dog, a character who has been very prominent in the film's marketing campaign, and I was somewhat concerned that this character would be a very cutesy character that would just get a whole bunch of laughs and really detract from the heart of the film. I'm very happy to say that, yes, he does make you laugh a fair bit, but it's never at the cost of this film. I think Gunn found a really good balance between having humour and having a conflicting tone with more serious moments. One character who really surprised me in this film that I haven't seen getting a whole lot of chatter is Lex Luthor's girlfriend Eve, who was just so funny and likeable as a character in this film. In terms of the way that this film was made, I really can't flaw this film. The film goes for a very uniquely stylized look, that of a variety of different vibrant saturations and tones, which make this film feel like the most comic booky film ever made, with distinct differentiations given to the colour grading of different sequences as a means to poetically enhance the film. To enhance the movie's very comic booky tone, Gunn has gone for a lot of very charming, colourful visual effects that I thought really added to this movie's playful sense. Look, if there was ever pressure for a movie to be good, it was now. Superman was by far my most anticipated movie of 2025. Before seeing the movie, I was so excited, but also so nervous. But watching the movie, I just had a massive grin on my face and so much fun. This is, without question, my personal favourite Superman film. I'm going to give Superman an A+. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm the Grinning Critic, and don't forget to subscribe to me. It'll keep me grinning, that's for sure.